Ambassador Park Hyun-soo walked slowly into the giant crystal room where all the alien leaders met. His old hand shook a little as he looked at the hundreds of strange creatures sitting in their floating chairs. Some looked like walking rocks, others had too many eyes, and a few glowed with weird colors. They were all staring at him with the same look they always had, like he was just a child who didn't know anything. Today was different, though. Today, humans would finally say goodbye to all of them. The room was so quiet, he could hear his own heartbeat. Hyun-soo had been coming to these meetings for 20 years, always asking the same things. Please let humans help make important decisions. Please stop treating humans like servants. Please give humans the same respect you give each other. Every time, the answer was the same. No. He touched the small device on his wrist. One button press would change everything. But first, he needed to tell them why. 300 years ago, Hyun-soo began, his voice clear and strong, humans first met you among the stars. We were so happy. We thought we found friends who would welcome us into your great galaxy family. The tall, crystal-like zealothy creatures made a sound like breaking glass. Their leader, Veltar, spoke directly into everyone's minds without moving his mouth. The baby species talks about friendship. How cute. Hyun-soo felt his face get hot with anger, but he kept talking. We gave you our best doctors. Dr. Kim So-young over there created a medicine that saved millions of orphan people from the Red Death disease. But when she asked to join your medical council, you said humans were too emotional to make good decisions. Dr. Kim So-young stood up from her chair. She was small, but her voice was loud and clear. I spent 40 years of my life making medicines for your people. My team worked day and night. When the plague hit your worlds, we saved entire planets. But you still wouldn't let us vote on health policies. The robot-like Vorthan leader, Nexus 9, blinked his red light slowly. Human contributions are noted in our files. However, your species shows too much feeling. This makes you bad at making logical choices. Other humans in the room started talking angrily. Engineer Lee Dongmin had built the shield machines that protected half the galaxy's planets from space rocks and enemy attacks. Scientist Wang Minju had invented the faster space travel that lets ships move between star systems in days instead of months. Captain Jin Sua had led peace missions that stopped 3 different wars. But no matter what humans did, no matter how much they helped, the aliens always found reasons to keep them out of important jobs. You let us do the dangerous work, Hyun-soo continued. When pirates attack trade ships, you send human soldiers to fight them. When new planets need to be explored, you send human scientists into unknown dangers. When your cities need to be built, human workers do the hardest jobs. The room filled with angry sound from different alien species. Some clicked their claws, others made buzzing noises, and a few flashed bright colors. But Hyun-soo's voice got louder. When it's time to decide how the galaxy should be run, suddenly humans are too young, too emotional, too dangerous to have a say. Veltar's crystal body glowed brighter. Your species has only been in space for a few hundred years. We have been traveling the stars for thousands of years. Age brings wisdom. Really? Dr. Kim stood up again. Then why couldn't your ancient wisdom cure the Red Death? Why couldn't your thousands of years of experience build shields strong enough to stop the Kethvar attacks? Why couldn't your wise old minds figure out faster space travel? The aliens got quieter. They didn't like being reminded that young humans had solved problems their old civilizations couldn't. Hyun-soo looked around the room one more time. He saw the same proud, stubborn faces that had looked down on humans for centuries. Even now, when he was telling them how badly they had treated his people, they still looked at him like he was just a complaining child. We're tired, he said simply. We're tired of being treated like servants in our own galaxy. We're tired of giving everything and getting nothing back. We're tired of being told we're not good enough when we're the ones keeping your world safe and healthy. He raised his wrist and showed them the small device. This button will send a message to every human in the galaxy. All our doctors will stop working in your hospitals. All our engineers will turn off the machines they built for you. All our soldiers will come home. All our scientists will take their inventions with them. The room exploded with noise. Aliens were shouting in dozens of different languages. Some were angry, some were scared, and some were trying to offer deals. Hyun-soo waited for them to get quiet again. When they did, his voice was sad but firm. You had 300 years to treat us fairly. You chose not to. Now it's too late. He pressed a button. Across the galaxy, millions of humans got the same message. Come home. We're leaving. The greatest exodus in galactic history had begun. Captain Jang Minho stood on the bridge of his ship and watched the lights go out. Below him, Kepler Station had been the busiest place in the galaxy just 3 weeks ago. Thousands of alien ships came and went every day, carrying food, medicine, and materials to hundreds of worlds. Now it floated in space like a dead whale, dark and silent. "Sir," said Officer Yunhana from her seat, "the aliens are calling us again. The messages won't stop coming." Minho looked at the screen showing thousands and thousands of emergency calls. Every alien government in the galaxy was trying to reach humans. Some were angry, some were begging, some were offering huge amounts of money. "Play the usual answer," Minho said quietly. The same recorded message went out to all of them. Humanity is no longer available for galactic affairs. This is a recording. He felt a little sad watching the station die, but not very sad. Humans had built most of it. They had designed computer systems that kept track of all the ships. They had created the translation programs that let different alien species talk to each other. They had even figured out how to make the artificial gravity work properly. The aliens had never said thank you. They just expected it to work. Now it didn't work at all. On the other side of the galaxy, Dr. Choi Soo-bin was packing the last boxes in her research lab. The Vorthan aliens had built the lab around human computers, but they never bothered to learn how the computers actually worked. They just used them and assumed humans would always be there to fix problems. "Doctor," her young assistant whispered, "the Vorthan are offering us 3 times more money if we stay. They say they'll give us anything we want." Soo-bin laughed, but it wasn't a happy laugh. Funny how they suddenly want to pay us fairly. Where was this generosity for the last 200 years? She sealed the last computer core into a transport box. These machines held the secrets to faster space travel, better medicines, and stronger shields. The aliens had used them every day, but never tried to understand how they worked. Now they would have to figure out themselves. Across the galaxy, the same thing was happening everywhere. Human doctors were closing their hospitals. Human engineers were shutting down the power plants they had built. Human farmers were leaving the food-growing planets. Human teachers were ending their classes at alien schools. The aliens watched in shock as their perfect lives fell apart. Commander Park Jin-woo was leading the evacuation from the Zealoty border worlds. These proud crystal aliens had always acted like they were the strongest warriors in the galaxy, but their weapons and shields were built with human technology. "The Zealoty defense grid is failing," reported his communications officer. "Their automatic guns can't tell the difference between enemy ships and friendly ships anymore." Jin-woo wasn't surprised. The defense system used human-designed smart computers that could think and make decisions. The Zealoty had never learned how these computers worked. They just pushed buttons and expected everything to happen. Now, with the human programmers gone, the computers were getting confused and making mistakes. "Sir, we're getting desperate calls from General Velkar. The Kethvar are attacking 3 Zealoty planets. Without working defenses, the Zealoty can't stop them." Jin-woo remembered Velkar. The proud general had once told him that humans were too emotional to understand real military strategy. He had refused to let humans help plan defense strategies, even though human soldiers were doing most of the fighting and dying. "Send the standard message," Jin-woo said. Meanwhile, the Vorthan Collective was having their own disasters. These robot-like aliens prided themselves on being perfectly logical and organized, but their perfect system was breaking down without human intuition to solve unexpected problems. Director Nam Ki-young watched the news reports as she waited for her transport ship. 3 Vorthan research stations had blown themselves up trying to copy human inventions. Dozens of their cargo ships were lost in space because the navigation computers couldn't handle route changes. Their medical centers were closing because they couldn't make the human medicines work. The Vorthen are panicking, her aide reported. They're offering to make humans full partners in their government if we'll just stay and help fix everything. Nam Kyung shook her head. They had 3 centuries to make us partners. They chose to treat us like smart tools instead. On the main Galactic Council station, emergency meetings were happening every day. The alien leaders who had dismissed human requests for centuries were now screaming at each other, trying to figure out how to fix everything. But there was nothing to fix. The humans were gone, and they had taken all their knowledge with them. The worst part was that human space had become completely unreachable. Strange energy barriers blocked every approach. Sensors showed massive construction projects happening behind the barriers, but no one could get close enough to see what humans were building. Some aliens tried to send messages through the barriers. Others tried to send gifts. A few even tried to send apologies. Nothing got through. The galaxy that had rejected humanity was learning what life was like without them. It wasn't a pleasant lesson. Professor On Ji-hoon stared at the pile of twisted metal that used to be a jump drive. This was the 15th one his team had destroyed trying to copy human technology. Smoke filled the lab, and the smell of burned circuits made his nose hurt. What happened this time? He asked Dr. Kong Eugene, who was looking at her computer screen with confused face. The same thing as always, she said sadly. The quantum parts just fell apart. It's like the machine knew we weren't human and decided to break itself. Ji-hoon had been the galaxy's best scientist before humans left. He had 3 different university degrees and had won prizes for his smart inventions. But human technology made him feel like a stupid child trying to understand magic. The problem wasn't that human machines were too complicated. The problem was that they were too simple. Humans somehow made incredibly powerful technology using basic parts that should never work together. It was like they understood secrets about the universe that no one else knew. Look at this, Eugene said, showing him a human computer chip. This tiny thing can think faster than our biggest supercomputers. But when we try to make a copy, it just sits there doing nothing. In another part of the galaxy, the Vorthen Collective was having even worse problems. Their most logical scientists had spent 6 months trying to rebuild human shield generators. Every test ended in disaster. Station Commander Nexus 12 read the latest report with growing panic. 3 more research stations destroyed. 47 scientists dead. The test shields are creating black holes instead of protection barriers. The Vorthen were masters of following instructions and doing things the exact same way every time. But human technology seemed to need creativity and intuition, things that the robot-like Vorthen didn't understand. Meanwhile, Captain Nam Woo-jin was preparing for the most dangerous mission in galactic history. His job was to sneak into human space and find out what humans were building behind their mysterious barriers. His ship, the Pioneer's Edge, had been covered with the best hiding technology the remaining aliens could make. It could bend light around itself to become invisible. It could hide its heat signature and make no sound as it moved through space. Approaching the human border, reported navigator Lee Min-kyung. Her voice was shaky with fear. "Sir, the sensor readings, they don't make sense." Woo-jin looked at his screens and felt his mouth drop open. The edge of human space wasn't marked by ships or space stations. Instead, space itself had been changed. Gravity waves twisted and bent in impossible patterns, creating a wall that nothing could pass through. "What kind of technology can change the laws of physics?" whispered a science officer. "I don't know," Woo-jin admitted, "but we have to try to get through." They launched a small spy probe, no bigger than a football. It was programmed with every sneaking trick the galaxy's best spies knew. The little machine moved carefully toward the barrier, using its tiny engines to avoid detection. For a moment, it looked like the probe might make it through. It slipped past the first layer of the barrier and sent back amazing pictures. Massive ring-shaped structures surrounded what used to be human planets. Each ring was bigger than a moon and glowed with energy that hurt to look at directly. Then something reached out from the barrier and crushed the probe like an invisible hand squeezing a bug. "The probe is gone," Min-kyung reported. "Whatever destroyed it, our sensors couldn't even see it." Back on the council station, the alien leaders were getting more desperate every day. The Zealoty Empire was falling apart as their defense systems failed one by one. The HFY warriors were conquering planet after planet because the Zealoty couldn't fight back properly. The Vorthan Collective's perfect order was turning into complete chaos. Their cargo ships were getting lost because the navigation computers couldn't handle unexpected problems. Their factories were shutting down because the machines needed human operators to work correctly. Smaller alien species were dying out as their life support systems broke down. The proud aquatic syndicate watched their underwater cities flood because they couldn't maintain the pressure systems humans had built for them. Dr. Shin Tae-ho was one of the few humans who had stayed behind to help evacuate sick patients from alien hospitals. He was captured by desperate Zealoty soldiers who hoped to force him to fix their broken machines. "Please," begged General Velkar, the same alien who had once called humans too emotional for military work. "Just tell us how to make the defense computers work again. My people are dying." Tae-ho looked at the proud general with sad eyes. "Even if I wanted to help, I couldn't. Human technology isn't just about knowing which buttons to press. It needs human thinking, human creativity, human intuition. You can't just copy it." The general's crystal body dimmed with despair. "Then we are lost." "You were lost the moment you decided humans weren't worth treating as equals," Tae-ho replied quietly. Across the galaxy, the same realization was slowly sinking in. The aliens had spent centuries using human inventions without trying to understand them. Now those inventions were breaking down, and no one knew how to fix them. The galaxy was learning that taking someone for granted always comes with a price. And this price was higher than they ever imagined. Engineer Shin Dae-ho sat in the cold metal chair, looking at the angry Zealoty soldiers around him. Their crystal bodies glowed red with frustration as they asked him the same questions over and over again. How do you fix the defense computers? How do you make the shield generators work? How do you stop our worlds from being conquered? He said nothing. Even if he wanted to help, it was too late. The humans were already gone, and they had taken all their secrets with them. The Zealoty commander, General Kelvar, leaned closer. His voice was like breaking glass when he spoke. "Your people are destroying the galaxy with their childish tantrum. Millions will die because of human selfishness." Dae-ho almost laughed. "Childish tantrum? We asked for respect for 300 years. You gave us nothing but insults and dismissal. Now you call us selfish for finally leaving." One of the guards searched through Dae-ho's belongings, looking for anything useful. They found his personal communicator, a small device that all humans carried to stay in touch with their families. The guard handed it to their computer experts, hoping to find human technology's secrets inside. What they found was much more interesting. Dr. Yu Unesio was the galaxy's best language expert. She could understand and speak over 200 different alien languages. But the partial messages on Dae-ho's communicator were unlike anything she had ever seen before. "These aren't normal human communications," she told the emergency council meeting. Her hands shook as she showed the decoded fragments on the big screen. Their construction reports. But the scale, it's impossible. The messages talked about taking apart entire star systems. They mentioned harvesting the matter from planets and moons to build something called Project Starbridge. The energy requirements were so huge that humans had to drain whole suns to power their construction. "What could possibly need that much material and energy?" asked Prime Speaker Veltar. His crystal form was dim with worry. The answer came from an unexpected place. Captain Nam Woo-jin's spy probe had been destroyed months ago, but its wreckage had been drifting through space, still recording everything it saw. When the broken pieces finally made it back to Council space, the recordings they carried changed everything. The images were fuzzy and broken, but they showed something that made every alien leader gasp in shock. Massive ring structures surrounded human worlds, each one glowing with power that made stars look dim. But these weren't weapons or shields. They were gates. Fleet Admiral Ko Sangmin appeared in one clear recording, standing in front of a control room filled with technology no one recognized. Behind him, through a huge window, they could see one of the giant rings spinning faster and faster. "The first test with Andromeda went perfectly," he was saying to someone off camera. "The gateway held stable for over 6 hours. We sent a full diplomatic team through, and they were welcomed with open arms. Dr. Yu translated the rest of the recording with growing amazement. The humans hadn't just been building transport gates to other parts of their own galaxy. They were building bridges to entirely different galaxies billions of miles away. The Andromedans are incredible, Admiral Cole continued in the recording. They have biotechnology that makes our best medical equipment look like stone tools. But more importantly, they treated our ambassadors as equals from the very first meeting. No tests, no probationary periods, no centuries of proving ourselves worthy, just immediate respect between civilizations. The probe's damaged sensors had captured images of human ships unlike anything the galaxy had ever seen. These new vessels seemed almost alive, their surfaces flowing and changing like liquid metal. The design showed influences from completely different evolutionary paths. Technology that could only come from alien minds that thought in ways no Milky Way species had ever imagined. They shared their biotechnology freely. The Admiral's voice continued. No councils, no committees, no bureaucratic delays. When they saw that our medical knowledge could help their people, they immediately offered to teach us their healing methods in return. The recording showed human engineers working alongside strange new aliens with flowing, organic-looking technology. These weren't the rigid, hierarchical species of the Milky Way. These aliens move with fluid grace, their biotechnology responding to their thoughts and emotions rather than cold logic and mechanical precision. The cultural exchange has been remarkable, Admiral Coe said. They understand that diversity of thought creates strength. They welcome new ideas instead of fearing them. They judge species by their contributions, not by how long they've been traveling in space. The final clear image from the probe showed construction sites that dwarfed anything in the known galaxy. Humans were building not just one or two gates, but dozens of them. Each ring was large enough for entire fleets to pass through. Dr. Yu turned off the recording and looked at the silent council chamber. Every alien leader sat in stunned silence, finally understanding what they had lost. They're not just leaving our galaxy, she said quietly. They're joining a better one. They found civilizations that gave them what we never could, respect, partnership, and friendship between equals. The greatest minds in the galaxy had spent their time trying to reverse engineer human technology, never realizing that humans had already moved far beyond anything they had previously built. While the council argued about trade disputes, humanity had quietly become citizens of a universe. Admiral Bei Youngwoo walked slowly through the empty corridors of his ship, the New Horizon. This massive vessel was humanity's last presence in the Milky Way galaxy, and soon it too would be gone forever. The walls were lined with containers holding the final gift humanity would leave behind, medicines and technologies that might help the struggling alien civilization survive their own mistakes. He stopped at a large window and looked out the galaxy he was about to abandon. In the distance, he could see the glow of fires where the Zelathi and Kethvar were still fighting their endless war. Without human peacekeepers to stop them, the violence had spread to dozens of worlds. Admiral called Communications Chief Song Myung from the bridge. We're getting another transmission from the Galactic Council. They're offering us everything, sir. Youngwoo sighed and walked back to his command chair. On the main screen, he could see the desperate faces of alien leaders who had once treated humans like annoying children. Now they looked broken and afraid. What are they offering this time? He asked, though he already knew it didn't matter. Complete control of the council, sir. They're saying humans can make all the major decisions for the entire galaxy. They're offering their most advanced technology, unlimited resources, even... Myung paused, looking shocked. Even offering to serve under human leadership. Youngwoo almost laughed, but there was no joy in it. A year ago, we would have been grateful for a single vote in their council. Now they want to hand us the entire galaxy. Through the ship's communication system, he could hear the alien leaders begging and pleading. The proud Zelathi, who had once called humans baby species, were now promising to follow human commands without question. The logical Vorthan, who had said humans were too emotional, were now crying digital tears and offering to rebuild their entire civilization around human values. It was too late for all of it. Sir, reported Navigation Officer Choi Min-soo, the final transport ships from Andromeda have arrived. They're ready to escort us through the gateway. Young-woo looked at his crew, humans who had chosen to stay until the very end to make sure no one was left behind. They were tired and sad, but also excited. Through the Andromeda gates, they had seen glimpses of a galaxy where different species worked together as true partners, where new ideas were celebrated instead of feared, where age and wisdom mattered less than creativity and cooperation. Before we go, Young-woo said quietly, I want to send one last message to our old neighbors. The communication channels opened across the entire Milky Way galaxy. Every remaining alien civilization received the transmission at the same time. Young-woo's face appeared on screens in council chambers, military command centers, and a few still working communication hubs scattered across the galaxy. People of the Milky Way, he began, his voice calm but sad. This is Admiral Bae Young-woo of humanity, speaking to you for the final time. He paused, looking directly into the camera. Behind him, his crew stood at attention, their faces serious and proud. For 300 years, we knocked on your doors asking to be treated as equals. You answered by treating us as servants. We built your defenses while you questioned our judgment. We healed your sick while you called our methods primitive. We kept your peace while you dismissed our wisdom as emotional weakness. Across the galaxy, aliens watched in silence. Many were crying their own strange ways. The aquatic species leaked tears of salt water. The energy beings dimmed their light. Even the proud Zealothi let their crystal bodies grow dark with sorrow. But we found something you never offered us. Young-woo continued. In the Andromeda Galaxy, we discovered civilizations who judge species by their contributions, not their age, who welcome innovation instead of fearing it, who understand that diversity of thought creates strength, not weakness. He gestured to the containers behind him. We leave behind medicines that will ease your suffering and technologies that might help you rebuild, not because you deserve them, but because it's who we are. Despite everything, we still care about life and hope you can learn to care about each other. The transmission showed brief images of what humanity had found in Andromeda. Cities that grew like living things, with technology that felt alive and responsive. Ships that moved through space like fish swimming through water. Alien species working together on projects that helped everyone, with no one trying to claim superiority over others. The galaxy is yours now, Young-woo said, his voice growing softer. We hope you learn to value each other better than you valued us. We hope you can find the cooperation and respect that we could never achieve together. He stood up, his hand moving toward the control that would activate the ship's new drive systems, technology that combined human engineering with Andromedan biotechnology. This is humanity's final transmission. May you find peace among yourselves. Farewell. The screen went dark. The New Horizons exotic engines came alive, and the massive ship began to glow with colors that had never been seen in the Milky Way before. Reality seemed to bend around the vessel as it prepared to slip into the space between galaxies. In the abandoned galactic council chambers, automated systems continued playing humanity's withdrawal speech on repeat. The empty halls echoed with words that no one was left to hear, while outside the windows, the galaxy burned with wars that human peacekeepers once prevented. The New Horizon disappeared in a flash of impossible light, carrying the last humans toward a galaxy that had learned what the Milky Way never could. That true strength comes from lifting others up, not keeping them down. The stars themselves seemed dimmer, without humanity's light among them.